Hello, everybody. Good morning. I'm Fabio Malfatti, project manager, Italian project manager of Highland Community Manager project, and we are in the first key lesson. This is a very important moment because in this time we start really the course. This is the first official one. So I recommend to everybody in the chat, you will see some links to fill the sorry, a message. Okay, the pre-evaluation questionnaire, and to follow on social. Why we start with we write all the partners this project? Because we create CREA 360 and I 2030 and Sepoate. We feel the need to have a common language, common terms, to know the basic definition of each essential need of the people for the development, for the working in the highland areas and in the rural areas. So this course is not a high level or upper level, top level course. It's just to create common language between all the partners, the mayors, the citizens, the companies, the NGOs, the no-profit organizations. So all the stakeholders, they are collaborating in development of the internal areas. It's so important to have these common tools. Like we want to create a toolbox, a simple toolbox of screwdrivers and other things that can help each one of us to make better our work and to connect in the way that we know what it's doing the other. So, for example, this morning we will have Francisco Sellés Sanchis, that's the mayors and the president of the Mancomunidad of Xarpolar. We have Alberto Lorente Saiz, that is the representative of CREA 360, a real interesting organization that has been built in the countryside to help countryside to develop. Now, in this time that everybody's going through towards cities, we have to help the countryside to be attractive again. We will have Anna Maria Moisa. We have Andrea Facchin, that's it's an expert of non-violent and conflict management. And we have a very interesting case studies that it's one of the example we visited in the last international travel of the project. That's Adriana, that she will present herself after, and we will just listen to her words, the great experience she has built with Scuola Piscu. At this point, I will pass the simple recommendation, so please keep your microphone closed. If you want to show your face, we are very happy to see you because it's very nice to see people who we are speaking to. So please open your camera if you can, if you want, logically. And it's very important that this conference will be in English, but you can choose on the bottom, in the square, it's closed caption, CC, you can choose the language that is spoken and the language of the traduction. So you can have traduced subtitles. In this way, each one of us can follow in his preferred language. I don't know if there will be people connected from Georgia. I will see. There I invited to some person from Georgia because it's a very far country, but it's very near in thought with Europe, and there are a lot of interest to connect with us. So at the moment I cannot see, but I hope they will be with us. please, again, I said in the chat, you see our main social, and the WhatsApp channel, WhatsApp community. So please enter in the WhatsApp community. You will be receive few message. We are not flooding with messages, but it's important to be connected too, because you can share some information essential for the project. So at this point, I think just I introduced very informally this key lesson. One of the main point of this project is that it's not so formal, because it's directed to all the people that we want to interact with. So Anna Maria has prepared, Sepoate has prepared some ice breaking, but it will be useful to enter in this, very important to enter in this thematics of today that will be, what's happened? I heard something that, yeah, really, I forgot the thematics of today, it's community. Sorry, Anna Maria, please start. I have to check a problem. Thanks.
Good morning, everyone. So in order to be a little bit energized this morning, we will do 2 questions with the word cloud. So I will share now my screen, and you will need to, you can see here that you will need to go into your phone and enter menti.com and use this code that you can see here up, and you will have the ability to answer these questions. We will have just 2 questions in order to understand a bit the thematic of today, maybe a little bit of information from your side. So then we can start smoothly with what we have prepared for you. So you will need to enter in this link and also use this code. Okay, so we have some words. I think engagement is the most used one. Cooperation, decision, attention, involvement, development, patience. Yes, we need patience for sure. Development, attention, listening. Okay, I will wait for maximum 1 minute. Okay, people are still ideas, devotion. Really nice words to use for active participation, and I agree with all of them. Empathy also, yes, it's very important. Creativity, yes. Co-design, community, dialogue, bottom up, communication, of course. And we have a lot of likes here. Thank you. Okay, I think we can go to the next question. And it will be, what do you expect to learn today? Okay. So we have how to better participate, practical situations. For practical situation, conflict management, case studies, practical tools, practical situation, new successful stories, how to engage young people, how to cooperate, how to manage situations. Here are more words. It's harder for me to see the nuance, but you can also see. So we have here a lot about tools and case studies, so it's good. Okay, so now, yes, thank you for still writing. Now we can have a bigger perspective on your expectations today, and for sure we will, in our discussions, for sure we will take in consideration to approach these subjects. And anyway, they were prepared for you today. Okay, thank you so much for your words, and I will let now Fabio to continue with opening the course.
Okay, thank you very much, Anna Maria. We can keep this screenshot and repropose after. Now I will invite for the official opening of the course, all the project, Francisco Sellés to introduce all this webinar and the course and these areas. Thank you very much, Francisco, to be with us. And you have the floor. Thanks.
Hola, mira, soy Francisco, alcalde de Beniarrés. Para los que no me conocéis, alcalde de Beniarrés, y como bien me ha dicho, bien me ha presentado Fabio, también soy el presidente de la Mancomunidad del Xarpolar. Para mí, la verdad es que es un placer poder estar con todos vosotros y ver el gran trabajo que estáis realizando, porque al final ver que todos tenéis este interés en comunidades y trabajar por el desarrollo rural y de zonas de montaña, pues la verdad es que a uno le llena. Y la verdad es que estoy muy interesado en estos proyectos porque estoy convencido de que, pues, sacando lo mejor de todos vosotros y de mí, pues aquí estoy yo simplemente para ayudaros en lo que podamos. Y sí que es verdad que con todo vuestro trabajo estoy convencido de que vamos a sacar cosas muy positivas de la mano de todos vosotros y, por supuesto, pues aquí me tenéis para lo que queráis. Ahora, por motivos de agenda, os tengo que dejar, pero os dejo con buenas manos por la parte española con Alberto y ya tendré una reunión con Alberto y me pondré al día de todo lo que hayáis quedado en el día de hoy, ¿vale? Muchas gracias a todos, mil besos y hasta pronto.
Okay, muchísimas gracias. Alberto, please.
I will translate. So, Mr. Francisco Saiz is the mayor of Beniarrés and president of the public association Commonwealth of Rural Municipalities of Xarpolar. That is an association with more than 20 rural and highland small towns in the province of Alicante, in Comunidad Valenciana. He's very glad to be with us in this project. From the beginning, Beniarrés and the Association of Municipalities were involved in the project. We organized the first meeting in Spain, in its territory. He's very glad to see how we are doing this great job in Hi.Co.Ma. And he wanted to thank Fabio, Francesca, Ana Maria, and all the rest of the people involved in the project. I'm very much committed with the project and also with the open to collaborate and to support these activities that we are going to implement. Unfortunately, because he had another political commitment in a while in another city, he should leave. But he will follow the course also as one participant more, and he would like to be present in the next activities.
Okay, thank you very much, Alberto, for the translation. For who has still not activated the translation in subtitles, I recommend that in the lower part of the screen, there will be a square with closed caption, CC. You can choose activated translation. You can choose the language of who is speaking, and most of them, you can choose the language of the translation, the subtitle, and you can have a side by side the complete transcription. So if you lose some people, want to reread something, you can go to the other. So now I think it's time to start, and I will give so thank you very much to Francisco, that has to go, and I give the floor to Alberto, that we will speak. Alberto, you can present by yourself, or you need help?
As you want. I have my presentation ready.
So if you can present by yourself, easiest, so you can go on and just change slide whenever you want. Thanks.
Perfect. I just would like to say I present some, sorry, I prepare a small presentation, but as this will be more a round table, we will have chance to talk. If you have any doubt, any curiosity, question, please be open to share with me, to ask me. I would like to talk about stakeholders and territory and how it is needed to build solid strategic partnerships when we talk about rural development and when we talk about sustainable development. I wanted to put this screenshot from some street in the world. I don't know if in your countries it's the same, but in Spain it's very typical to see elderly people watching the operas, the buildings, and how workers are doing their job, and just watching and sometimes giving their opinion, but of course not being listened. They want to participate, but they can't. They are not allowed, and they are out of this project, no? But also this presentation is about the opposite, how we should involve the right people in all the processes in order to have successful initiatives and successful strategies for rural development. When we involve the key stakeholders and the key people in our projects, we will have more chances to have a stronger project and a more sustainable initiative. Well, when we talk about a stakeholder, we are not talking about someone having in the hand a steak of meat. Okay, we are talking about some individual or institution who could have a great interest on the project because will be the results or the impact of the project will go directly into them, or maybe because they will have some benefit because this initiative, but also we are talking about some institution who have power to influence in the success of this project. Let's say maybe they are the owners of some land, some building, maybe they have the political power, maybe they have funds and they have resources, maybe they are a strong community with a lot of human resources. So at the end, we need to always evaluate the level of power that person, that institution could have in our project and the level of interest. Okay, for example, if we are talking about a river that is crossing our village and we should do some intervention in that river, we should think about who is the owner of the river, who is the manager, who has the power, no, and the rights to intervene in that river. And probably there is some authority who is the manager of that river legally, and we should talk with them, even if we are the mayor of the town, maybe we are even the owners of some land, but we need to talk with those institutions and people who maybe have the power on the river, no? And it's the same when we talk about some municipality or some territory. Always there are a lot of people who should be consulted and should be asked and should be involved in the process in order, because we can have maybe some specific power of intervention, but we can't have all the powers for having the success of our initiative. And this is a matrix that is very used in many projects. And always when we evaluate the level of power and the level of interest, there will be, as you see here in the top and right box, you will have the key stakeholders, for those who have a high level of interest and high level of power. And then during the process, because always when we are talking about strategies, projects, or development, we are talking about a process in the time. No, we are not building sustainable development in 1 month or in 1 year, because it will not be sustainable. So when we talk about sustainable, we should talk about a process in a long term. And in all this process, always we should work closely with our team based on stakeholders. Of course, not all of them will have the same interest than us, because we are promoting the project, okay? But they will have different kind of involvement, and some of them can work with us closely. Other ones maybe prefer to not be too much involved in the project, but also why not? Even if they are key stakeholders, maybe they don't want to participate. Maybe they have some negative perception of the initiative that we are leading. Imagine that maybe they represent another political party and they don't want to do that. Even if we prepare good arguments and good technical arguments, maybe they don't want, because politically they don't accept that. They don't want to follow those ideas. So we should also deal with that. The stakeholders could maybe not be interested in our project, but without them, maybe probably we can't do anything. So it's something that we should always manage. Starting from the information, we need to inform them from the beginning about what we want to do, what we are going to do, and also giving them all the information, making them understand what we are going to do, what we want from them, what they can do also in order to not create or generate any frustration, and also ask them to participate in a right way in order to keep always their motivation and their commitment. It's difficult, of course, because normally people want goals and want results, but this is our task, to balance and always manage their motivation and their commitment. Probably even the stakeholders will change in the time, okay? The people, the person who is involved, but this is an alive process where some stakeholders enter, some leave, and so on. There are many tools and many dynamics to work on. For example, I like it very much, Ana Maria, when you shared before this game, no, to do this cloud of words, right? Is that dynamic. But for example, probably you have heard about, for example, the World Cafe, or maybe this hats of Bono, maybe the problem tree, or maybe even to work with posits to put the ideas and then clusterize and buffer the ideas. Also now we can do with Miro board, for example. Nowadays, after pandemic, there are a lot of tools, online tools to work. Also, like now we are connected, talking about everything. We can connect online with Zoom, Meet, do surveys. But at the end, the main purpose is this. So we should be together and talk, reflect and propose ideas. We can also sit in a bar, why not? Remember also in previous projects when we had to do strategies in rural areas and we wanted to involve the elderly people. At the end, we had to go to the social center where the elderly people were playing cards or playing domino or playing something. And in that moment, we went there and we stopped the game domino and we started to talk with all these elderly people. And it's this in all the processes. We should communicate well, okay? Like if we talk about another scale, when you are presenting some project in your family, in your group of friends, but just having these challenges that you are working with people that you probably not know at the beginning, but you should involve. I would like to share with you one specific case that I lived the process in Medina del Campo in Castilla y León. Castilla y León is a region, the biggest region of Europe, is a region who is one of the biggest in Europe, probably one of the 2-3 biggest in Europe, but it's also one of the less populated regions in Europe. Okay, the density of population is somehow worse than Finland, if you can imagine. There are less than 10, 15 cities, if we can consider cities, every, let's say, settlement with more than 20,000 inhabitants. And there are a lot of, let's say, hundreds of villages with less than 100, 200 inhabitants. Well, we were working in Medina del Campo during several years with several European projects and local projects. And what they had during many years was the challenge what to do with some key heritages in the city. As you see here, in order to not extend too much my presentation, this is the hospital, Hospital Simon Ruiz Hospital. It was built in the 16th century. It was built by some rich person, very rich person, one of the richest person in Spain in that age. He created a hospital for the whole region. Okay. This hospital was working until 1991, 1992, but after that it was abandoned. And during 3 decades, you can imagine, it was abandoned and was always like a hot topic for the citizenship and for the community, what to do with it, because we see that the building is becoming abandoned, destroyed, and so on, but we can't do nothing because the ownership is part of one foundation, Foundation Hospital Simon Ruiz. The president of that foundation is the mayor of the town, but then we don't have fundings. Then we don't have support. We need a lot of funding because it's a very huge building. You can see here how huge it is with a lot of also big gardens and so on. But in the other way, also we are in a risk of losing this heritage. So it was always like a hot topic that nobody wanted to talk. When someone proposed some project or something, they said, we can't do anything, something that we can do. Because at the end, the problem was that, no, that they didn't sit together, all the people who, let's say, could propose and all together intervene in the building. This idea of integrated approach and involving the key stakeholders came from several European projects that invited also external international people from other cities to Medina del Campo and started to push them, to give them ideas. Why not you do this? You could try to do this, involve these people, why not? And why not you create maybe a new building for entrepreneurs or maybe some social service or social center? And step by step, they were creating this narrative together, involving different stakeholders at local, regional, and national level. Involving, for example, invited experts from different universities in Spain, but also from Italy, from United Kingdom. involving the regional government, who has a lot of money for cultural heritage, also being supported by other different kind of national statements in order to how to approach, in order to get fundings and so on. And after that, the reality was that they started to have a very great planning for the building in order to create it innovation hub for the city and for all the county, the functional area. And after having this plan that was made by a participatory way, they started to receive support from a national ministry with some call about cultural heritage first, and applying in different years, getting the fundings, and step by step implementing the different phases. And you can see here, this would be this was the planning for the future of the building. But here you can see also when they were working on it. This planning, for example, was made by 3D Intelligence, that, for example, is one of the companies that also participated in the process. So in this multi-stakeholders process, they were institutional entities or representatives, but also companies, entrepreneurs, social associations, civic associations, and all together, step by step, via collaboration, they were developing this building that nowadays is a reality. Okay, nowadays is a reality. Of course, not the full building because it needed more than 30 million of euros, but almost half of the building is already working as a cultural place, social center, and center for innovative projects in the city. And I hope that I was not too much long in my presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Alberto, for this interesting panorama of the experience of 360 and the area, because you introduced the principal thematics, that was the engagement, how connect with the people we are working with. So I'd like to pass the floor to Florin Separu, that will speak about an experience connected with Romania, our State Poate, and our other areas we are working. So please, if you make a short presentation by yourself and start with your presentation or your words. Thank you very much, Florian.
Okay, thank you very much also for the opportunity. First of all, Ana Maria, Moisa, for inviting me to this beautiful community, first of all. So, my name is Florin Ceparo. I'm the city manager of a city of 30,000 people since 2017. I'm also a trainer in Romanian National Agency in Erasmus Plus and the European Solidarity Corps, and very connected with the youth sector since 2010, when we took the decision to found our first youth association. The main focus, because I was also studying youth participation also in school, how to attract European funds, how to make, I don't know, a strong environment of, around the decision-making process, was to try to build some instruments practically to better understand and better integrate youngsters into decision making. And we suddenly succeeded to understand that besides, let's say, Erasmus Plus, Youth in Action projects, and all of other opportunities to attract European funds and to build projects, something really interesting would be to have also a local youth strategy. Because we discovered that even if we are trying to, let's say, to push things, it's really hard to work with mayors. It's really hard to work with decision makers, with local councils, with public institution directors, with schools, which is the hardest to work with. And we were analyzing, somehow mapping also the opportunities to bring everybody to the same table. And that's how we succeeded to build a, let's say, a successful story, not only a local story, but I think also a European story, because starting with 2017, we start our work to build the youth strategy. And we were one of the first municipalities in Romania having a youth strategy for the youth sector with 6 specific domains and also 120 measured actions to be integrated at local level. This was the first one. And the second one, we as everybody, and also comparing and connecting with the previous presentation, we needed a space. We needed a place for youngsters to be together. And by succeeding to convince the local authorities, we took a place in the municipality building. The first room now is dedicated to Europe Direct Center, and Europe Direct Center was in fact our opportunity to put our municipality and our community to the map of very, let's say, very specific communities from Romania who has this kind of opportunities to integrate local activities and local mentalities into European perspectives practically. So we connected the community with European Union. And now I will share with you our, let's say, our successful story, because we are practically the only municipality in Romania having this kind of center who supports the participation and integration of youngsters through democratic participation. And this is our municipality, has more than 140 years of experience, let's say, and not more than, let's say, 15 years of European integration activities. So our youth strategy, and this is the first and the last, and the first and the second page of the youth strategy, has 6 very important strategic domains. Let's say it's in Romanian. Sorry, but I will use my voice to translate it. And the most important, and the point number 1, is education, translated to all the domains: formal, non-formal, civic, and representation. So participation is also in point 1, point 3. And 1.4, personal development, something which is not usually supported by schools, not supported by the local administrations, and is practically not part of any network, local and national. Number 2, culture and art. Number 3, health and social. Number 4, entrepreneurship and professional development. Number 5, leisure time and sport. And number 6, environment and sustainable development. So practically, we started in 2017. We had this in November 2018, approved by the local council. So it's one of the only 3 strategies approved by the local councils in Romania, even now. And something important that was not in that point, and today is very important, is digitalization, that we don't have it here, but in the next youth strategy next year, I'm very sure that this need will come. So I will introduce yourself in our story step by step, and let's move to the first to the first meeting and to the first image. So when they decided to give us the reward of being a Europe Direct Center, they sent us also this thing that we are keeping in our hand. And there are 3 very important messages there. The first one is to meet the decision makers and the experts. So meet the people with who you want to take the decision. The second one is ask things about European Union, and let's go also locally about everything which is connected with the development of the local community. And the third thing, debate everything regarding the future of the European Union and the local future. So these are the most important messages that we share also with the local communities. And I will not read all of this, but the most important strategic objectives, which became practically in our civic and community approach as a municipality, not only with the youth sector, the mainstreams of our communication. First, to bring European Union closer to the citizen, and also to bring the community closer to the administration. 2, to involve local communities and to increase their participation competencies, because usually people doesn't have participation competencies, and they are not, let's say, and these participation competencies, they are not integrated in school, in education, in anything practically connected with their lives. To create an integrated partnership and to bring our message closer, not only to the direct beneficiaries, but also to all the actors from the local community. And you will see that we did it. and also to build an efficient communication environment, which is usually the hardest thing. And this is the place when we started our story. This is like when you go inside of our municipality, usually on the right, it was a place that usually people were coming to pay taxes, you know, and to swear and to say bad things about the mayor and about everybody. It's happening quite in 90% of the communities, I think, all around Balkan countries, maybe also in your countries. And we decided together with the mayor to change a little bit the perspective. And how would it be to have youngsters when you go inside of the municipality, and some youngsters we invite you to do some volunteering, to participate, to do a questionnaire, you know, to be much more friendly with the community. So the mayor, I invited the mayor to go in Spain, in Cordoba, and there we saw that they were doing the same. So when you go to pay taxes, somebody will stop you telling you that here is a kind of youth center, and would you like to participate? Are you interested in these topics? What is your impression about, you know? And after that, you can go pay taxes and be happy with your life. So this was also our approach. And since then, in 2001, this was the starting point when 460 students, and now I will introduce you in our local partnership, were part of this beautiful story. And we had a kind of, you can see that we put it all over the walls of all the public institutions, sharing our, let's say, partnerships between Europe practically and all the public institutions. Here we have also local police, kindergarten, schools, and all the NGOs at local level. And after that, we needed people to work for that. And so we made a selection every year. We have 30 local youth ambassadors, and they have a volunteering contract. They are coming here, and they have an agenda every day full of different kind of activities. They have to organize them, but also to share them and to, let's say, to keep the connection with the partners. Organizing debates and the consultations, let's say, on European and local topics was also very important. So since then we had more than 30, also with youngsters and with the decision makers. One of the most important things for us was to visit the classes, because we discovered that people usually doesn't come by
Lauren,
themselves.
sorry to interrupt you, but seems that the slide is stuck. So we are seeing only the first one.
Really? Come on. No. Okay, now you can see it. Now you can see it?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Sorry, guys. You should tell me before. Okay, so this was this was the place of the municipality that we succeeded to rehabilitate with not so much money, but in the end, this is the opening event. This is the partnership, you know. So every partner has something in the beginning, in the entrance, to announce our partnership. These are some faces, people which usually are happy when they are working inside of our Europe Direct center. Here are some pictures from our debates, which are usually organized debates by the high schools and by the partners, but also by ourselves when we meet mayor, local councillors, local decision makers. So this is the slide when we arrived. More than 100 classes, more than 2,500 students. And there we are going from class to class to talk with them about public participations, about measures, doing some mapping. And it's really interesting that we discovered that starting with the 7th degree in the school, people are very prepared to share their perspective about the local community. So all the time, the best volunteers and best youth workers, best participation people, when they're 10 degree, 11 degree, are that people that we started to work 4 or 5 years sooner. And after that, a lot of public events, because when we are talking about public participation, we are not talking only about very smart things, people staying to the table, but also sharing different kind of local perspective and practice, moving the target groups and the organizers in different places of the local community. So we see here that we like a lot to do sport, to read books. So we have here reading books, playing on the beach and beach volleyball field, and also in the left but sharing also, why not, our national traditions, clothes, and so on. And then we continue. On the left up, we have our youth center with a lot of people and a lot of, let's say, a lot of diversity. And in the right, in the center down, we have the mayor who usually participates. He was also a sport teacher and also petrol engineer. So we are trying to integrate smart activities with leisure time and very dynamic activities. And yeah, we have a network of youth and solidarity, which is very important, which made of representatives of all the NGOs here at local level, but also a part of the mayors who decided to join our initiative. So we are jumping from an idea to another. In 2023, we realized, and we made practical. I don't know, it was an experiment to try to take youngsters aged 16, 17 and try to write projects in Erasmus Plus, European Solidarity Corps, and different kind of other opportunities. So we applied with, at that point, with 9 projects, and 3 of them have been approved. Then another 2 were also approved in the next call. And for the first time, people were like 17, had developed practically the competence to bring European Union closer to the community through very specific, let's say, resources, bringing resources, which is very important for the youth field. And on the left, you see that we have 24 tools, methods to integrate them in the project. And then this is the youth center, and these are different kind of classes at local level when we are doing different kind of activities. We integrate dynamic activities like we did breaking, like we did in this morning, breaking the ice with different kind of other interactive and intelligent, let's say, activities. And we work together with different kind of networks like Europeers. If you know, it's a very well-known network of European Union to share the experience and share the youngsters with the best expertise and knowledge in European projects. And also in between 2021 and 2025, we reached more than 2,000, we can say 2,500 people at local level, integrating them in different kind of activities, starting with, let's say, sport activities, like you can see here, Eurotaraba, spreading their humors, the European mini football competitions, Zumba, because we all the time understand that if the body is ready, the mind is ready. I was also a football player. I was goalkeeper in the Romanian second league. And I see a lot of my friends, which are part of different kind of institutions. They are very healthy. They are very, let's say, very active. And for us, sport is a very good opportunity to integrate that. And every year we have also the Days of the Youngsters, which is usually in August, and more than 1,000 people are participating every year in this kind of activities. Of course, something important is also to promote the local investments, because like our municipality is one of the most involved in attracting European funds. And let's come back to the consultations and hours with the mayor, which is a very specific way to integrate youngsters and to, let's say, discover their ideas for the local community. So until now, more than 600 people, young people, were integrated in this kind of activities. Also, in our center, since 2022, the meetings with the citizens of the town hall are happening here in the municipality. So people are coming, they're saying their problems, and we, together with the mayor, are trying to find solutions. Different kind of partnerships, like solving or training ourselves for the emergency situations, are organized with different kind of associations here at local level and the institutions. Also, humanitarian campaigns, and youngsters are very involved, and is one of the most important way to increase their participation, to care on their colleagues and to the local community. And at least once per year, we are organizing consultations, meetings with all the NGOs or with that NGOs who would like to come in order to, let's say, discover projects for the local community and to understand better how can the local community support them in order to develop projects in a partnership. Every end of the year, we have the Youth Gala, 22, 23, 24, all the time with at least 100 people, youth workers, decision makers, all the public institutions, and this kind of supported, let's say, why not, people from different kind of companies which usually support our activity. And of course, youngsters are gaining different kind of rewards in different kind of public ceremonies. Europe Direct is also a good host of all the projects which are coming here in all around the city in high schools. And something very interesting, in 2021, we had a project and we went from school to school, from high school to high school, to share the Erasmus vibes. And if at that point from 12 institutions, only one had a partnership in Erasmus, now 10 of 12, they already coordinate. And we have also 2 accredited schools, which is very important for the youngsters, which are becoming our local volunteers. Of course, sharing the good practices all around Romania and all around Europe, supporting youngsters, and you can see the diversity of activities. So for us, participation is not only, as I've said, participating in decision making, but taking decision in different kind of topics which are connected with their activities. So they are singing, they are doing things by woods, they are planting trees, they're enlightening the future. And they're doing everything they want for the local community. And this is the richness of the youth, our Youth Europe Direct Center. We are all the time providing resources to them, which are provided on one hand by the European Union, but also we are doing a lot of we are buying different kind of things. We have a budget of 30,000 euros every year, and the municipality is are putting much more money. This is also part of the team with the mayor, vice mayor, city manager, and myself, and the general secretary. Everybody is at the same table, very happy to be part of this story. So this is our way to, let's say, let's save it. Okay. This is our way to integrate, let's say, the youth perspectives with our needs for people to participate. If I would have only 2 minutes, I would like to share also another perspective, which is really interesting, or which should be, or which I hope it will be interesting, about our European approach, because this is the local approach, but we have also the European one. This will be in Romanian, but it will be very fast. So I'm the city manager there, and I'm in charge with everything which is connected with the participation in integration of youngsters in decision making. But I'm also the president of Onyx Youth Association, which is accredited since 2023. So we are doing a lot of projects together at the European Union, this being very important for the local community. Here we have the let's say 3 perspectives. The first one is to norm a European partnership. The second one is to train, to form people for the future. The third one is to exchange, to try to bring youngsters together and to understand much better things about the European Union. And because our accreditation is also connected with public participation, it's important everybody, also the youngsters, to identify the needs of the local community and to be aware not only about their needs, but also about the needs of their parents, the local community, and all the people from the local community, in order to support ideas, to have a debate, to have a negotiation, to do lobbying and advocacy, and in the end to have the decision. And now I will share some things that we are working and doing inside of the participation. So actions in the Romanian Parliament. We are bringing people there, doing different kind of activities. We have deputy senators. I was also candidate for deputies 2 times, 2016, no, 3 times, 16, 20, 24. And the second one, community map, negotiate and decide when also the decision making are coming. So usually we have 2 sessions. The first session, which is done only by youngsters, or 3 sessions. The second session when different kind of stakeholders are coming, and the third session when all the people from the first 2 sessions are meeting the decision makers and are taking the decisions. And here is a kind of, or a different kind of consultations, debates with the local administration. We have also the mayor here, the mayor, which is also part, which was at a point also young, and he funded the first youth forum here at local level. And here we have different kind of simulations and ways to function the local parliament, the European Parliament, the local council, and also the mayor. Debate, open space, and something that I would recommend as an advice to do these kind of things, not only in the municipality or, I don't know, in a very formal place, but also in informal spaces or spaces which are not connected usually with debate and decision making. So we went in the museum and we've done these kind of things. We made in the restaurant, we made in pubs and in different kind of other places. Okay, and something very important with the participation in to make people understand that they have the power to change and they have the power to write projects, to attract funds, and to bring at a point everybody to the same table to share the opportunities. Yeah, this is us. We have a partnership with 15 countries, 23 partners, and the story goes on. We have the accreditations until 2027, and let's say we participated last year also to a good practice seminar in the Romanian National Agency when we shared all our perspective at local level, being one of the most active youth participation, I can say also in Europe, in this, let's say, cooperation framework between decision makers at local level and youth sector. Fortunately, we succeeded to end the presentation in 6 minutes.
It's wonderful. Thank you very much, Florian.
Thank you very much also.
It's really interesting, and we are trying, this is what we are trying to do, exchanging ideas and experiences. So the last one is wonderful, and we will go in deep, will be one of the key practice, because exercise in dialogue and exchange is essential. People don't know how to speak in public, and just they think that they have to shout more than others sometimes. Sure. And now I will pass the floor to Anna Maria Moisa. They will present Adriana. Thank you very much, Anna Maria.
Yes, and I'm very happy to present Adriana Scripcariu. We were last week at the Piscu School Museum and Workshop. Adriana is an art historian and cultural education, and she and her husband managed to bring back the tradition of pottery in Piscu rural village that is close to Bucharest, and I will let her present more about what great things she has done there.
Thank you, Anna Maria, and thank you, Fabio, and all the team for inviting us in this story. We should start with a presentation. Fabio, please.
Okay, this is the first one?
Yes. But please make us kind of a slideshow that you manage manually to move from one slide to the other, because the slide is not entirely as far as I've seen.
This is the first one, and this is the second one, it's correct?
This is the first one, only the first one, but it's not entirely on the screen.
I don't know why, strange. I will try again, sorry.
I will start already to tell you about the first slide, which shows a little that in the last decades, things are starting to happen in a good way in Romania. There are lots of people involving in cultural projects, in community projects. And as you have seen in the last presentation that I'm very happy to find out about, people are willing to develop projects and to improve their lives through community projects. Our project is mainly about cultural heritage, but I would say that cultural heritage is the heart of the communities. Now it's better. Thank you, Fabio. Please give the next one.
Is there? Is it there?
No, next one, please. So we are set in a former pottery nearby Bucharest, and we settled here with a family in 2006. I'm an art historian. My husband is a sculptor, so our professions were related to cultural heritage, and we were very happy and impressed to find here a community. Thank you. That was, I'd say, staying on a treasure that they did not put the light on, which was the pottery craft. Here in the slide, you can see the Piscu Museum workshop and school. This is the cultural hub. And a little bit from the landscape of the village. We are a plain village. We have forest, we have lake. We have this natural resource of the clay that have been used from centuries by the local people to practice their craft as a mean of living. We go further, Fabio, please. So we started in 2007 with working with the community. We were a very, very small NGO, and we still are a very small NGO, but in time we made many connections and we built up, let's say, a community of lovers of cultural heritage. And after nearly 20 years of involvement, I'd say that we are many, even if the NGO is very small. We started with working with the children of the community, trying a little to show them their own story. We started working on interviews with the old generation. We started also collecting local heritage, which was quite abundant in that times, and unfortunately people were not aware of the value of this heritage and was only trying to get rid of it. Next one, please. Next, and then next. Thank you. So mainly our mission is about educating for heritage, which is a very quite neglected field in Romania, and that's why in the last decades many NGOs involved in this mission. And our instruments are workshops, creating educational materials on heritage, online lessons, books, and also trying to expand our experience in other communities. You can see here some of our way of working, and that's how we passed the last 18 years, every year trying to improve and extend our perspectives and fields of acting. Next one, please. Somewhere in the years 2016, we built up a book of the village from the crafts point of view, from the cultural heritage point of view, and we put there first of all the collection of pottery that we have gathered along with other objects from different local, from different museums from the area. We also put all the history of the village that we could capture until that time in libraries, in different books, and also the most important, the experience and the history told by the locals. We understood a lot of what was the village and the pottery before, and through talking with the people, of course, and also we collected and made a thematic collection of interviews on the different subjects, such as how is a craft, the market places, but also a collection of interviews on how communism affected the people's life, the craftsman life. Starting with that book, we realized that we have enough information and artifacts to set up a permanent collection that would be suitable to be visited of common visitors. So the idea of building up a museum was raised in our head, and as you can see in the image on in the left corner up, we have we were at the launch of the book, and in the meantime, the model of the future museum, which was looked upon by the children of the village. In collaboration with the University of Architecture in Bucharest, which that volunteered in the project, we set up the project and we started building. It's a totally private project in which involved many volunteers and financial resources that come from small enterprises, donations, private donations. This was all very tight, collected, let's say. And ourselves as a family, we directed resources to the project. And it was incredible for us that this was possible only by private involvement. And this is a very good sign that in Romania, the civil society really realize that if they are not involving, things will not improve. So they are now ready to involve, and they are now ready to participate and to offer their time and their resources to set up projects that they care on. Each one of us has his own values and own places that we love, and it is very important to involve for this project. Please, we go further. So we are now looking on the working progress of the building of the museum that was about 2 years to be finished, and we opened in the February 21. So in the pandemic period where we were very, very busy with this building of the museum. And since that time, we are open to the public. Our main public are the children. We are a place where we really concentrate on education, and we try to offer them education on heritage, and then they support the museum by participating in our activities. We go further, Fabio, please. So from the, let's say, design artistic point of view, we are trying to connect culture, heritage, represented by the local heritage of the pottery, and we extend it a little to pottery from all over the country. And we connect these heritage values with contemporary art. What you can see on the left hand is a sculpture of Virgil Scripcariu, my husband, one of the founders, of the two founders of the museum. And what you can see on the right hand is the ground floor of the museum, which is all centered on a central pillar, which symbolically connect us to the generations that passed away, and make very visible the connection to the history of the place, the natural history, because the area was former dark oak forest, and also symbolically. The whole building is centered. We have a nice gathering place just in the middle of the museum, and we are literally surrounded by heritage artifacts, which really create a very very beautiful medium, let's say, where people really connect to this value of the cultural heritage, which is in fact very present in many of the people's heart, but they very rarely access it. So once we found ourselves in this surround, we found ourselves surrounded by heritage, we immediately open our hearts to this field, and people really enjoy very much this space. We go further, Fabio, please. In this slide, I present a little what the museum is offering. First of all, the subject, I'd say the pottery collection. On the right up, you have some images of the pottery, of the local pottery. Some of them were donated to the museum, some of them were bought from the locals, some of them were literally recuperated from the garbage place of the village. Then we have a quite dynamic place, and we can contrast this, let's say, typical museum image with the one on the bottom left, where we have the multimedia room of the museum, where we have a quadrisfera. This is the way of exhibiting invented in Italy, where we really immerse in the context. It's video with mirror installations that really gives a very touchy experience of the heritage. On the right, just an example of a group of children that have participated in a workshop. And then in the upper left, an event hosted, a school event hosted by the museum. The space is very open and very suited to be used in different ways. So we are hosting very different cultural events. We go further, please. So people coming in the museum can experience pottery, hands-on activities. We have three very common workshops that are ready for the visitors in every weekend. So it is pottery, it is painting of clay pots, and it is also lino cut workshop, a very interesting and in the same time very simple workshop that can capture a design of the visitor in a very spectacular way. On the right hand up, we have the tactile space of the museum, because in the ground floor, there are many places where we stored clay toys. There are more than 10,000 clay toys, which the children are allowed to touch and to take off their let's say, nests and play with them all around. And they really, really enjoy this kind of playing. And we have to think that we are dealing with very technologized children that normally are playing with their pads, with their telephones, and they can play for hours with clay toys. It is only a means to offer them this opportunity. In the left down, we have a concert, gathering that take place every year, somewhere by June, and we invite different musicians for music connected to ethnography, to ethnology, to the traditions. But we also host very often classical music concerts, as you can see on the right down photo. And the space, of course, due to the configuration, it got very good acoustic, so it's very, very suited for music. Please go to the next one. And it's the final one. It was a quick presentation. I would have many other things to tell, as Fabio knows very well, because we had an interview yesterday. Finally, I'd point on the let's say, higher mean of museal space for every one of us, quoting a very famous artist in Romania. So he say like this. He was the founder of the Peasant Museum in Bucharest. Maybe some of you know the place. He's saying that after the time spent in the museum, the visitor should be happier. This happiness that we try to obtain through all our involvement in the cultural heritage field, awareness and education. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Adriana. And okay, Jack, we make through a lot of different experience now, and we are going deepening and deeper into the objective of this webinar, that is, which are the practical tools. So I will give the floor to Andrea Facchin. He will present himself and start the connection with what will be the next step of this of today, that is a round of questions to the principal speaker. So Andrea Facchin, please present yourself, and you have the floor.
Hello everyone and good morning. It's obviously a pleasure, a great pleasure to be here and have the chance to speak with you and meet all these people from everywhere. And I'm so happy to have the chance to hear these successful stories, which are, well, enlightening. And I'm Andrea Facchin. Well, I work as a trainer in nonviolent conflict management. I made my experience mainly inside the municipality of Venice, working on the civic service. Civic service in Italy is an institution founded to realize the nonviolent and unarmed defense of the state. And in this way, we were talked a lot this morning about the youngsters. And I have the luck to work with youngsters between 18 and 29 years since like 20 years. I'm trying to be very, very quick, just to give space to the questions. I think that one of the main topics about the engagement of youngsters or other stakeholders are what in nonviolent conflict resolution is called latent conflict, the invisible one. Is the conflict that exists and could be inferred It's theoretical because actually it hasn't a visible effect, but you know the conflict is there. I will try to put this on the ground and in telling you one story. This could be disappointing for someone who was looking for a successful story, because this is a story that hasn't been successful. A big enterprise here around in Venice tried to make a project to involve youngsters in activities for their personal development and on the rest. And they just supposed that, given opportunity, without any effective communication with the youngster, will be enough to engage them. They found in few months that have an effective communication. Fine, but the examples we've seen with Adriana, with Florian, and with Alberto were quite clarified in this. You need to find the right people to talk with the youngsters, and the right way to communicate with them. And in a quite obvious way, communication is the crucial skill in this kind of matters, even in conflict management. Because when you have to engage any stakeholders, maybe, as Alberto said, the other political party or the elderlies or the youngster, you have to, in some way, foresee the presence of a invisible conflict. This conflict could be bonded with demographical issues. They are young, we are, me at least, I'm old, or we are the youngsters and they are old, or the political position. And if I have the chance, can I show? Yes, I can share my screen, I think. Yes. Just a little tool, a very quick tool. I think you see, did you see? I don't have did you see like a triangle with behavior, attitude?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. This triangle is the conflict triangle made by John Galton, who has been a great scientist, conflict scientist, and peacekeeper, and others. And well, it's a good way to try to analyze and look at a conflict. And as you can see, there are three elements in a conflict. And these elements are the behavior, which means the way the parts are acting in the conflict. Usually, the violence is here in the behavior. The contradiction, which is the point on which the parts are fighting on, and most important, in my opinion, the attitude or assumptions, which are the ways in which the part in the conflict look each other. And as you can see on the left, there are two typical type of conflicts. The latent one, which was the one I was talking about, and the manifest one. The behavior, in this case, we are talking about violent conflicts. The behavior manifests itself when the conflict becomes manifest and visible. But I think that in our work, in the work of a community manager, or if you have to deal with a community, try to engage some stakeholder, or we are working with the latent one, and we need, I think, at least, to work on the attitude, first of all. So change the way the parts, and we could be one of the parts, sees the other, and try to work on that. engaging youngsters or elderlies, which are typical case of this latent conflict, implies necessarily to work on the attitude and show the part that you're working in a different manner. I was telling you about this big enterprise. They just entered that conflict showing exactly what the youngster was expecting. You're a big enterprise, you have the money, you're made just by old people, and this is exactly what we expect from you. So we don't want to take this opportunity. In the moment they decide to change the way with which contacted this youngster, the things changed at the same time. This is I've tried to find the quickest tool to show you, and I think it could be a good way to try to analyze and intervene in a conflict. In the last roundtable we made, I brought another tool, and I think it's available on Hi.Co.Ma website. So in case any that is the longest version of the show. And well, I see the time is running. This is what I do. Actually, I try to train young people on these topics and try to work with them, creating a project. The other part of my work, I always am scared of the word I'm about to use. I'm an artist. Well, I'm a musician. That's easy. I'm a musician, and I'm working with a school of music and theater in a in a village inside the municipality of Venice, and mainly there we are working, engaging the youngster of the territory. We happily have more than 100 students in music and theater. We're building project with them, and we discovered that the key was trying to manage and solve the conflict that these youngsters, because the most part of them is between 20 and 30 years, and we found that to work with them meant fundamentally to change our ways of communication. Now we are working on many projects. They are writing shows, they are organizing events, they are working in even in some political issues or active citizenship, promoting nonviolence and be active in peace issues and all the rest. And well, we try to do exactly a work using the scheme, the framework you see here. We found what was the best attitude to engage them. And well, I think it's better I stop here because our time is running. Thank you, and I'm here for any question.
Okay, so really interesting. Thank you very much, Andrea Facchin. Now we are entering the second part of this key lesson about questions. So we have some questions to share with the speakers. You can write your questions into the chat. If we have no time to answer to all the questions, I just make a brief synthesis of how work this course, because this is the first lesson, so maybe not everything is so clear. So there will be 5 key lessons from now until October. The second one will be at the end of June. It's about entrepreneurial and economic development. These are the pillars, the thematics. So this first one was about community leadership, stakeholder engagement. The second pillar will be entrepreneurial and economic development. The third digital competence and remote work. So we'll be dedicated to this the month of July. September, August, it's holidays time. September will be about environmental sustainability and climate resilience. And finally, at October, we will have youth engagement and social inclusion. How it works? Each month, it's dedicated to one thematic. So we will have 3, 4, depends, roundtable, free roundtable, where we will open. It's the duration is 1 hour. Will be the Tuesday at 18 set Rome time, and in this time we will answer to some of the questions from the key lesson and going deep in one of the thematics we choose. Also already planned, but I will send the program in next days. And it's open to everybody. Everybody can participate. It's not mandatory, but it's interesting because it's going in deep in one thematic. And at the end of the month, there will be the key lesson. As this one has been, we had 3 roundtables. They are recorded and are on the website. So I send you the links into the chat. There is a learning platform. In the learning platform, there are all the materials, the slides. You can find the slides. You can find the recording of the videos, but with a translation of the other side. So you can choose the language you will follow the video. The language of the video, it's English, but you can choose the translation by side. So it's a big instrument for going in deep, read and read. We want to build the toolbox that could be used in the future in each project. When you need something about which instrument for conflict prevention, okay, there is a lesson, there is the slide you can use in your project. So it's just putting the foundation of this building that we are with. So please, again, I ask to connect with the chat, WhatsApp, to follow on the, I send the link now, to follow on the social. I say all this now because I know that at the end, generally, some people have to go before. So now we start with the direct questions on the speakers, and I asked you. We have 20 minutes, so it's not a long time. To be really short, we can go in deep in the next days, and but just make a shortened question. The round will be the same of the presentation. So Alberto and Florin and Adriana and Andrea Facchin. But if Anna Maria want to say something, can insert before Adriana. Okay. Thank you very much. I go with the first question. So one of the thematics, it's here. I hope to do almost 2 rounds. So we will try to, because one of the points for it's the leadership that emerge in all these speaking. So what does for you mean the local leadership? What we need local leadership? How we can help to build local leadership? Please, Alberto.
You mean local leader, no? Local leadership. What means? Well, I will define it as who has the initiative, the initiative to entrepreneur some project, and also who counts on support and other kind of people and statements that support you and collaborate with you. A leader is someone that goes forward and also attracts other people and other institutions who wants to work with them and collaborate with them. This is what I will define.
Thanks, Alberto. Florian, please, what do you think it's the center of the local leadership?
I'm still thinking.
Yep.
Okay, local leadership. So local leadership, I think it depends a lot about which level we want to refer. I think we have a local leadership when we are thinking about volunteering. We have a lot of local leadership when we think about, let's say, representation inside of the local community, but something different than public administration. And also local leadership, which is practically the official leadership, which is the leadership of the public institutions. So three important levels, which are very important. So for us, leadership means to have leaders at every level. So to have a strong community of, let's say, youth workers, volunteering, youth initiatives, projects, people which are taking different small parts of the local problems, let's say, and they are succeeding to transform them into results, ensuring a better representation also at local level. So we can have leaders which are aged, for example, 16 years old, but they are doing a lot of things for the local communities. And we can also have leaders from the local community which are doing things isolated, let's say, but very representative for a part of the community. Like, for example, leaders which are, I don't know, creating a community of arts, of culture, leaders which are creating a community of sports, which are all the time organizing different kind of events, leaders which are organizing, I don't know, public consultations, why not, public debates, and we have here at local level, and also the local council, the mayor, vice mayor, and other, let's say, representatives, which are the official leaders. So practically, they should be 100% connected with the needs of the local community. So I would say every person who can solve a problem and can be representative for the others using different kind of resources and having in the back a team can be a leader, even if that leader, let's say, is an official one or unofficial one.
Thank you. Florian, Adriana, please, what does it mean for you, local leadership?
I think Florian defined very well all the assembly, I'd say, of possible local leaderships. As we live in a very small community, I would make some specifyings. Usually, when we talk about rural communities, strong leaderships go to the priest, the local priest. So there are many communities where we have very good leadership from the priest. We also refer to the leadership that comes from the local school. If we have a good director, let's say, of the school, he can do quite a lot about the community. And of course, we are referring to the mayor. If there is a good mayor, of course, community really feels it. If the mayor is, let's say, sometimes it becomes a quite formal position, and the community really does not feel much from the involvement. So official, let's say, local council, school, and church. And us, the NGOs, we just fit in with our perspectives, and we can also be a strong voice if we know how to do it.
Andrea?
Well, I can say very briefly that I think that leadership and to be a leader is directly bonded to the recognition of the role. Adriana said, and I was thinking, well, something bonding Italy and Romania in this, that the priest, the pharmacist, the doctor, the person from some NGO. In Italy, we have the Pro Loco. It's a particular name of NGO in Italy, are recognized as leaders. So I think that building leadership means build the representation of a leadership, which must be obviously even corresponded in facts, in concrete stuff you can see on the territory. But recognition, I think, is the key. If a leader is recognized as a leader by the community, he had the authorization in some way, okay, beyond the institutional roles. And there's a lot of cases of majors that has to speak with the priest to do stuff, to do things in a village.
Okay, thank you very much. So we have some more question, and I will give to you the first one that's arrived from the public, so I think it's more important. And the question is, which were the main challenge of your projects? The main challenge. So please, Alberto, Florin, Adriana, and Facchin.
Well, the main challenges that we faced on that project was that it was a very huge project, a very huge intervention in that hospital. We had a big challenge that was how to reach the money, at the beginning, how to reach all the political support at the beginning, and all the supports that we need to involve with all the stakeholders. And during the process, we also saw that there were internal fighting, because as the project was very significant for the municipality, many of the stakeholders, or some of the stakeholders, started to fight between them. Like, I want to do this, and the other one, no, it's better to do this other thing. Other one saying, this project was my idea, was not your idea. I'm the owner. So there was a real problem between the stakeholders, more at local level. And also, you can imagine also the political fights, between different councillors, government, and so on. And when the government changed after local elections, also the project changed a bit, So maybe even what you were working during many years to get a result, maybe it appear a new government with new mayor and new responsibilities, and maybe the project change. So it's complicated to manage this working in parallel and working as a team with all the stakeholders, because maybe some of the stakeholders can change their mind and then represent a challenge, really. In fact, even the main coordinator, who was a technician, a public servant, decided to leave the project. At the end, because he saw how, after many years, the project was changing, because different political ideas and different powers that appear and wanted to change the project.
Thanks. Adriana? Adriana, it's your time.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was Florin before me. That's why I was silent.
Oh, sorry. You're right.
You can do it.
No, don't worry. Sorry, because I mean, sorry for me. Bye, Florin.
Go ahead, Florin.
Okay, so once again, I paying attention to something else. So the question was very specific, which were our challenges in our projects. Yeah, so challenges. So two different, very different kind of challenges. Like public participation is something which usually is not very connected with the local community. And usually when people are voting the mayor, they want the mayor to do everything and people nothing. You know, so only expecting is like seeing a football match. So this is the most important challenge that we face, to bring people together closer to ourselves, and also to bring the youngsters, the young generation, part of our projects. Yeah, so this is the most important challenge, and maybe the most challenging thing is to work with teachers, which usually doesn't work one with the others. Like in high school, especially, we want to engage as many teachers as possible, but sometimes they have different perspectives, and usually they don't want to renounce, like to quit theirs or to change their perspective. So this is another thing that we succeeded in the last 4 years, to change the perspective of teachers and to make them work together. Regarding the connection with decision makers, the best challenge, I think, is to find the proper time and place to have them in the same table with the youngsters. They usually doesn't have time. They usually doesn't have youngsters on their agenda. They usually don't give so many attention to the youngsters. So this is very important. And one of the ways in which we succeeded to surpass this challenge was to invite youngsters practically to all the activities, or to the majority of the activities of the decision makers. So we have volunteers, interns inside of the municipality that every day they are looking what the decision makers are doing. We have youngsters participating to the local council meetings. And of course, we have the youth forum, which is practically a simulation of the youth council, when all the decisions, let's say decisions, informal decisions, are confirmed after a debate with usually a mayor, with the youngest local councillors. So this is a way in which we, let's say, connect them also with an official form of leadership. Yeah, so for instance, that's it in public participation, but the big challenge is to connect the community practically with our expectations. We have big expectations usually, we have a big, let's say, energy, but we should see more their needs and to connect our expectations with people's needs. So this is the hardest thing.
Okay, that's right. It's Adriana time.
Now it's me. So I'm coming with a perspective of a small and very old community, to which we still are outsiders after 20 years of involving. So one of our main challenges was to make ourselves accepted by this community. And we succeeded by working a lot with their children, and of course, inserting our children in the community, and talking a lot with the old generation, that in a way they give a mood to the middle-aged, let's say, community. Another challenge was, of course, time managing and balancing family with our work, because we have always worked from home, and family and work are very, very mixed. Also, the human resource was quite challenging, and the cumulus of tasks that quite often happen in NGOs in Romania, and I imagine elsewhere. The money was also a challenge, but we resolved it in a very creative way, and it finally worked out.
Okay, I'll be quick as I can. And I think that every useful thing has been said about this topic. I would just to add that to keep suing the social fabric, I think is one of the most challenging things in this kind of work. And as Adriana said, and as Florin said, well, the money issue, the money topic is a problem, but you can find solution for the money. The hardest part is working with the people. Find the right way to communicate. As Alberto said, you have the chance, the occasion in which the stakeholders begin to fight. You have to manage that fight. You need to make yourself accepted by the community. So suing the social fabric, I think, is the most challenging stuff. In my very little NGO, we are building a project, and the first move has been to work with the boutiques, the shops around the place, and talk with them to make us accepted, because we are not from the village we are working in. So they have to accept our presence. But,
Situation.
yeah. Thank you.
Okay. We are just in time, but I'd like to take another fast round because it's important. So the first round will be which tools, participatory tools of engagement, the tools for engagement of the people you found most effective in your experience? Same round. Alberto?
Sorry, Fabio, the most effective tools for?
Engaging, for public engagement, and to obtain participation in the activities.
Well, in my opinion, it depends. It depends on who is launching the initiative. But as we need to get support, we need to start knocking the door to everybody and coming to them physically and convince people and just start getting support. According to that, it depends on the project. But for example, I worked a lot with municipalities, so sometimes it's easier because the municipality at the end, the mayor, technicians, counselors, and all the infrastructures and resources, is easy to involve citizenship, associations, and other kind of institutions, because the municipality at the end has an institutional structure that can facilitate or make it easier. But for example, if I will represent a company or an association, that is also my case, what I will do is starting to involve the strongest stakeholders. So to do this involvement from zero. How? I'm sorry for making it large. I will do a stakeholders analysis. I think first of all, I must do a stakeholders analysis always, and think about, do a self-reflection about who should be with me working, who should be with me and why, and to whom I must contact and how I must involve them and for what. Also, because not everybody should be in all the activities or in all the processes. Maybe some stakeholders should be involved in some specific moment and in some specific way, because the reality and how is this stakeholder. But also other stakeholders could be with me from the beginning and be more close and work from the beginning in all the steps. But yes, in my opinion, the first step is to do a stakeholders analysis. And of course, if we think about before, to have very clear what we want to do, why, and have a good argument for convince people.
Okay, Florian?
Yeah, I totally agree with Alberto about the stakeholders map and evaluating all the needs. Usually people are not doing this, and usually everybody is connected only with the needs of their projects, and that's it. Usually people doesn't see over the limits of the associations. So yeah, I think the most important, like, it depends from community to community, but for us, for our projects, for what we are doing, the most important is to have the public authorities nearby us. And I think when you want to do something locally, I don't know, in front of your block, you can do it. Nothing can stop you. Sometimes, usually, you need only some people, and that's it. But when you want to do something to generate impact, you need support. And usually support means to go in front of the community, in the center of the community, to take some needs, you know, to try to represent them, to bring people together with you, and to be 100% credible. Yeah. So to bring credibility to all of your causes. And at a point, you will need much more support, because the municipality will sometimes and usually see you as a, not really as a partner, but as an enemy, you know. So you need their support in order to continue what we are doing. And in our, let's say, lobby and advocacy training courses, we encourage the youngsters to do as many things as possible, and also the youth workers. But the most important thing is to one second, you wrote something and I will also, yeah. But the most important thing is to have all the time in the stakeholders list, the municipalities, the local authority, because they have the strategies, they have the decisions, and sometimes they have also the money. So it's important to have a partnership with them and not a fight. And of course, it depends let's say, the objectives of your association, to have a strong local partnership and not local, let's say, competitors. Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks, Adriana.
I'm bringing again the perspective of a small community where everybody knows everybody, and everybody's curious about the interests of everybody. And I'd jump to the word credibility, because if the community is doubting about you, this is very difficult to collaborate. So earning the respect of the community, showing them that you don't have hidden interests, offering always without demanding any money. These were the keys for the beginning of acceptance that we had here in the first years of living. We had grants from the National Cultural Fund of Romania, so that we could just always offer to them. So even like this, they were very suspicious, but at least we don't generate visible reasons to be suspected of different other interests, and most of all material interests, that they're very let's say offended to feel in someone who is working with a community. So honesty is a keyword also. Thank you.
Thanks, Andrea.
Well, I've tried to imagine listening to you, actually, 3 tools, just to summarize all the stuff. And I think that the first one is the active listening, to rediscover our journalist sense for listening the territory, go around, understand what's going on. And I think that the second tool is to boost our capacity of speak different languages. And I'm not meaning Spanish, Italian, and so, but the apt language differently from your depending from the target you're talking with. And the other one is well, it's one of the non-violence principle, is the respect for the truth and the coherence in your acting, which are, I think, one of the key elements to do a good engagement. So I stop here just to use a few seconds and have more. We're late, I think.
So really thanks to everybody, because it was the first step for a long journey we will do together. First of thing, I recommend to everybody to register as student, because it's the way to keep in contact, to receive the links, to receive materials, to have news. So I put the links on the website. There is register as student, because all of us are students. I'm in the students too, because there are a lot of things of this course that I don't know. And it's a students for adults and for young and for everybody, for teachers, for NGOs, for mayors. So it's a way to exchange idea. The second thing is that it's really important. The next appointment will be Tuesday, 5 of June at 6 in the afternoon, Central Europe time. And we will speak about business development and financing strategies. So since money are one of the problems that all of us, everybody has, from the citizen to the mayors. So we start to think about this thematic, because next month, June, will be the month of entrepreneurial and economic development. And we'll end at 28th of June with another key lesson. In the middle, we will have 12th of June, cooperative models and economic governance. This is very, the 19th of June, territorial and digital marketing strategies. So please register as a student, put in agenda these dates. We are waiting for you all on this open webinar. Tell to friends, tell to other people is working with you, because more people there is, better we will sprout our ideas, and this cooperative way to share knowledge and multiply knowledge. I heard a lot of wonderful things. So we are try to keep treasure about this. We are building a handbook, very practical one, so you can find all the things we said. And please go on the question and the answer on the social of the project, because the social are a place where we should exchange, write, put questions, and please, the speakers, keep an eye on the social and give answers. So try to keep this digital community of all Europe, and I agree. I'm glad that there was a participant for Georgia, so it's over Europe. There was a participant too from Bolivia, so we are going over Europe. So we are trying to connect who is interested in the things we are doing and how to exchange ideas. The participant from Bolivia is experted in digital connection in rural areas. So it's another problem that we have in Europe and in the world, how go out of the town and have some little digital connection. And from Georgia, we have the representative of, okay, something about, I don't remember the word. I'm sorry. Thank you very much to everybody. And I say you goodbye and see you the 5th of June at 18 online. Thank you very much to everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you too.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, thank you.
Thank you. Grazie. Ciao.
Ciao, ciao a tutte. La registrazione sarà sul sito. It will be the recording will be on the website in a few hours.
Grazie, ciao a tutti. Goodbye.
If the team will stay for a brief, okay. Okay, we have 14 people still. Well, I think Anna Maria, me and you
Yes.
as team, as team. So, okay. Okay, I will close the meeting and we check on WhatsApp. Bye.